Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for being here. Today, I am joined by OPP Chief Superintendent Karen Gonneau and Detective Sergeant Steve Smith of our Homicide and Missing Person Cold Case section. Together, we are announcing a significant development in three long-standing homicide investigations. On December the 3rd, 2025, the Center of Forensic Sciences identified a man named Kenneth Smith as the offender in the murders of three women: Christine Prince in 1982, Claire Samson in 1983, and Gracelyn Greenage in 1997. Kenneth Smith died in 2019 at the age of 72 years old in Windsor, Ontario. If he were alive today, the Toronto Police Service would arrest Kenneth Smith for the homicides of Christine Prince and Gracelyn Greenage, and the OPP would arrest him for the homicide of Claire Samson. His death means he will never be held to account in a court of law, and we recognize the impact that has on families who have waited so long for justice. On behalf of the Toronto Police Service and the OPP, I want to again extend our deepest condolences to their loved ones who have carried an unimaginable burden for decades. While Chief Superintendent Gonneau and Detective Sergeant Smith will speak about Claire Samson and Gracelyn Greenage and more about the investigative work, I do want to take a moment to acknowledge the first victim, Christine Prince. Christine was a 25-year-old woman from Wales living in Toronto and working as a nanny. On June the 21st, 1982, she was the last seen riding a streetcar along St. Clair Avenue West after a night out with friends that included visiting a coffee shop and seeing a movie. The next day, her body was found in the Rouge River. For Christine's family and for the families of Claire and Gracelyn, the wait for answers has been extraordinarily long. It is only through sustained collaboration and advances in forensic science that we have arrived at this moment. Before I turn it over to Chief Superintendent Gonneau, I want to thank the many people who made this breakthrough possible. Our investigators, past and present, the dedicated members of the Center of Forensic Sciences and the Ontario Forensic Pathology Service, and of course our partners at the OPP. Their determination over so many years reflects what it truly means to serve victims and their families. These women were never forgotten, and it is because of the commitment of so many that we are able to give their loved ones at least one crucial answer today. I'll now invite Chief Superintendent Gonneau to speak.
Thank you, Deputy Chief Johnson. Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us. While we are here to discuss three historic homicide cases, I want to begin by reminding everyone that behind each of these cases are families and loved ones who have waited decades for answers. Many of them likely believed those answers would never come. Yet here we are today, thanks to the relentless dedication of investigators who never gave up. For years, they worked these cases, hoping that one day, that one crucial tip or advancement in forensics would allow us to stand here and share what we now know. I want to extend my deepest gratitude to those previous and current investigators from the OPP and the Toronto Police. Your unwavering dedication and hard work brought us to this moment. I also want to thank our partners at the Center of Forensic Sciences, the Office of the Chief Coroner, and the Ontario Forensic Pathology Service for their critical support. Thanks to them, this week, OPP investigators were able to meet with the family of Claire Samson and tell them that after 42 years, we can finally provide some answers and hopefully some measure of resolution. This case, like the others you are hearing about today, is tragic. It involves the death of 23-year-old Claire Samson. She was a family person, remembered by her loved ones as a beautiful soul. Her family described her as a young, caring, and loving person who was taken away too soon. On September 2nd, 1983, Claire was discovered in a remote wooded area in Oro-Medonte, approximately 120 kilometers north of Toronto. An investigation began under the direction of the OPP's Criminal Investigation Branch. Police learned that Claire had sustained fatal gunshot wounds. At the time of her death, Claire was living in Toronto and had recently moved back in with her parents. She was last seen on Jarvis Street, entering a beige vehicle driven by an older white male. Despite extensive searches, media interviews, public appeals, tips, and even a reward, the person responsible was not identified. As DNA technology advanced, the OPP launched Project Millennium in 2001. The goal was to review 17 unsolved homicides to determine whether modern forensic techniques could be applied and help move them forward. Claire's case was among them. Still, progress was slow. It wasn't until 2016, 15 years later, that a breakthrough occurred. The DNA profile generated from Claire's case, previously uploaded to the National DNA Databank, matched an unknown offender from another case, that of Christine Prince. The two cases were linked to the same unidentified offender. This discovery launched a joint investigation between the OPP and Toronto Police Service. Surprisingly, investigators found no personal connection between Christine and Claire. No one in their lives linked them together, and even the manner of their death was different. The only thing that linked them was the offender's DNA. The story tragically continues. And although the accused is deceased and we are pleased that he was identified, this investigation does not end here. We know that there are unanswered questions, and we hope that anyone with information will come forward and help us complete the story. Ultimately, this case stands as a powerful reminder that while time may pass, our commitment to victims and their families does not fade. We will continue to pursue the truth, no matter how long it takes, because no victim will be forgotten and every family deserves answers. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Superintendent Gunno. I want to speak about the third victim in this series, Gracelyn Greenage. On July 29, 1997, Gracelyn was found murdered in her apartment on Driftwood Avenue after she didn't report for her shift as a nursing assistant. A co-worker went to check on her and made the heartbreaking discovery. Gracelyn was originally from Barbados, and earlier today, we notified her family. After 27 years, they finally have an answer to who was responsible for her death. As Chief Gunno mentioned, it was in 2016 that a genetic link connected the homicides of Christine Prince and Claire Samson to one unknown male offender. The next year, in 2017, the Center of Forensic Science determined that the same unknown male was responsible for all three homicides. Even then, however, the state of the samples and the technology available at the time limited how far we could advance the case. In 2022, we engaged Othram, a forensic genetic genealogy company, to apply emerging technologies to this investigation. In 2025, through that work, TPS investigators were able to identify close familial relatives of the offender. With that information, the Center of Forensic Science was then able to conduct the final comparison that led to the conclusive identification of Kenneth Smith. We know that Smith lived and worked across Toronto during the period of all three murders. He was born in South Porcupine, Ontario, and moved to Windsor in 2013. He was known to police and had a history of sexual assault. Based on the evidence we have today, we believe it is possible that there may be additional victims who have never been identified. For that reason, we are asking anyone who may have information about Kenneth Smith to contact police. Even details that may seem small could help us better understand the full extent of his actions. On behalf of our team, I want to thank the Center of Forensic Science, the Ontario Forensic Pathology Service, our partners at the OPP, and the many investigators past and present who refuse to let these women be forgotten. Their work made today's announcement possible. Thank you, and we'll now take questions.
Kenneth Smith, was he ever looked at during the course of these investigations?
No, he was never investigated during these investigations.
But he committed other offenses. Had he been incarcerated?
He had been incarcerated at least once before the first two murders and twice before Gracelyn's murder.
Are you able to say exactly what the offenses were?
I don't want to get too much into that as he's deceased, but there were sexually based offenses.
Any indication why these women were targeted? Any pattern between them?
No pattern, nothing to connect the women together. It seems to be crimes of opportunity more than anything.
Over 800 cold cases. How do you go about now potentially linking Kenneth Smith to the hundreds of cases that are unsolved?
Well, we continue to resubmit property in all our cases to try to gain offender DNA. One of the things that we're going to need is to expand the capabilities of the Center of Forensic Science. I know we have a backlog of probably 64 cases there. If we can expand their ability to test our cold cases, we'll be able to make these connections much quicker.
You have a huge timeline between the original two crimes, 1982, 1983, and then the next one in 1997. Is that why you're thinking there might have been other people who were also killed by this man in that time frame?
Well, we just want to cover all our bases. As we did in the Jessup case, we're going to continue this investigation, and we want to take calls from anybody that knows him and knows his whereabouts during those times. So anything that we can gather, anything that we can put together, anything that we can find out where he was, we can look for unsolved cases in those territories and see what we can do with that.
Can you speak to the genetic database, the new technology you're using, and where does it reference the other genomes from?
Are you talking the technology we used to upload or the technology we used?
Technology you use to find the relatives and then work backwards from there.
So this was a very complex mixture, and that's one of the biggest problems with DNA right now is having a mixture of the offender DNA with the victim's DNA. So that's why it took us so long. Science has increasingly become better over the years, and we were able to utilize some people that we know at Othram Inc. to help us to deconvolute the mixture. Once we were able to do that, we were able to upload it to family tree DNA, and then we were able to find out close relatives of the offenders.
So can you comment, I think one of your genealogists recently told the New York Times that to the good, Toronto Police have solved 50 cases with IgG. However, Ancestry has taken a hard line against any any police in the continent using its databases, and that could dramatically affect the future of IgG use across North America. So I'm wondering if you could explain how Toronto Police have approached using Ancestry in the past, and whether the changes we've seen in recent months are going to inhibit future investigations.
So the true numbers are 68 in Ontario that we've solved, and there's a lot more outside of Ontario. We're into the 80s. But as far as Ancestry is, yes, they have changed their terms of service. They do not want police using their services for any means at all, even the humanitarian means. We have found a workaround. We found a new program to help build our family trees, and we don't access Ancestry for any of the information we're looking for. We use open source data, and we find it through other means. It may have slowed us down, but it's not going to stop us.
Right. And just with the 68, is that homicide, sexual assault, or forensic identification of remains?
That's correct.
Within the province of Ontario, not limited to Toronto's jurisdiction, but across?
That covers 17 police services across Ontario, yes.
Can you speak a little bit more about the impact of finding this out on the families, how they're doing, how they're coping with this?
The families were elated when we told them. I mean, I don't want to speak for the OPP, but as far as our families, they were thrilled, and especially right before Christmas. I mean, as they said, the holidays always brings back a tough time because you always remember those that are gone. And the ability to go and meet with the family and finally be able to talk about who, they may not know the why, unfortunately, because he is deceased, but they know who committed these offenses.
You said in the past that the genetic genealogy technology has been a bit of a game changer in how you approach these investigations. Can you speak to that in the context of these three?
Absolutely. I mean, these cases would have never been solved without this technology. Especially in this case, I mean, we've talked a number of times, and when you're looking for an unknown profile and we have no matches on our national DNA data bank, you're basically looking for a needle in a haystack. When you can upload this and use different technology to identify close relatives and then go back to traditional policing means to prove the fact that the person that we gained the DNA from is the actual offender, it makes all the cases that have previously been unsolvable now solvable.
Is he officially classified as a serial killer now?
He meets the definition. There's more than 2 murders and not in the same event, so he does meet the criteria to be called a serial killer.
Okay, one more question. Are there any current cases that you're looking at where you suspect Kenneth Smith may be responsible?
None that we have DNA to link him to, but we will look at every possibility.